Alright, everybody, here is the 2v2 match. This is going to be the Game 3 between the University of Maryland and Towson. If you did not know, in the Collegiate Star League, the third game in any best of 5 is always a 2v2. So down here in the bottom, we have Reptile and his partner, the Protoss Porky. Two of them will be representing Towson. At the top of this base, we're going to have Oracle, the orange Protoss, and Ritsu Love, the yellow Terran, going to be representing the University of Maryland. Now, 2v2, very interesting and very different game type, especially depending on the map. In this map, they actually have a shared base and this large ramp in the middle of the two bases. Orange already getting a pylon at the front of his ramp. I guess the two might have decided to wall off early, except that there is a supply depot in front of Terran's base. So maybe Orange will try and wall off and Yellow will not. But as I was saying, 2v2, a very strange matchup because one player can always come through and support another. For example, a Zerg player can 6-pool early while another player techs up and gets a large army with a fast expansion. These are very common strategies in 2v2 where cheese is no longer really a cheese at this point. In 2v2, a cheese is more of a actual legitimate strategy that can get very good results. So we have very standard play coming out from both our yellow Terran and the orange Protoss, deciding to wall off, getting this barracks up here in the front and this gateway. Meanwhile, Zerg just now getting a pool down at 16, I believe, or I'm sorry, it looks like it was a 14 pool followed by 2 more drones and now a 16 gas. Meanwhile, Protoss getting a gateway at the back of his base. These players deciding not to wall off, possibly because one of them is Zerg, and the two races they are fighting are Protoss and Terran. So there will not be any wall off for the Towson team. Meanwhile, everything else fairly standard for both sides. Neither team deciding to go for any weird cheese into tech play. But also, this map is very interesting for its expansions that are much harder to hold on to, because I don't believe either team really wants to expand quite yet. Which is why we're seeing very standard play. The reason why it's not common to expand is that this natural has several entrances, not a few, which being this ramp. You can actually come through here and go into this small crack here. There are these rocks which always need to be monitored for both teams, and this ramp back here gives access to this expansion in the back there. So there are so many entrances to these natural expansions that they're very hard to control and are also very far apart on the map. Meanwhile, Zerg is going to try and take this expansion in the front of his base. It's, again, very difficult to defend because he's expanding towards his opponents here, who can just walk across and try and kill it off. Not many units for either side yet. Terran now getting factory and a reactor, possibly to do some early Hellion harass. There were a lot of defense going up at the front of this ramp for Terran and Protoss. Meanwhile, for Protoss, there is another gateway on the way and a cybernetics core just now getting started. If we check the APM tabs, looks like Zerg is the most spammy, up at 300 APM, but Terran and Protoss sitting around 150, and purple Protoss here sitting around 100. Getting a third gate down and only one gas. No second gas now yet for Protoss. Just now getting that second gas down. One gas is very indicative of a 4-gate play by Protoss, so it's very rare to see a second gas come down that late. But at the same time, we have scouts getting killed off by this bunker at the front. Very nicely done by this Terran Protoss team. No second gas for Terran yet, which is typically indicative of either reactor Hellion play or a very bio-oriented play. We see barracks now going down onto this reactor to make more. In terms of income, Orange is doing the best with probe management, already up to 25 probes. Green Zerg on this side with 23 drones, but that will increase now that he has this expansion up. His econ will just skyrocket, but Hellion's now coming in to do some damage to this drone line. Trying to run away. He's doing some great drone micro to get less damage. Oh, but that was a good clump. Getting really nice shots with these Hellions because there are simply no units to try and fight these off yet. Just now getting some stalkers in for orange, or some stalkers in for purple, but these Hellions doing so much damage. Each one having a serious amount of kills. The Stalker just coming out, but it's a little bit late. This Hellion with 3 kills, this Hellion with 4, 7 drones total killed in that harassment. Now Protoss getting his army to the front, try and unite with Zerg, because that is another important factor in 2v2, is how well the armies are united. If the two armies can just stick together, then there is not much that the other team can do. We have these two Hellions coming over to tag this tower, make sure nothing bad is happening. Protoss seeming to be gearing up for an expansion. Neither team really doing too much in terms of aggression yet. Their Zerg is just getting a couple roaches and some upgrades. Yellow Terran is now getting an expansion down, so he can lift it off and try and expand to his natural. Protoss getting a robo up and a couple gateways, going to expand hopefully rather soon. Getting that pylon down at the bottom of his base, possibly to get ready to secure that expansion. Scouting Overlord coming in for the green Zerg, getting ready to see what is going on in the Protoss base. Protoss doing the same, getting that ob out, but he sees the Overlord very fast, and he's going to try and take it out as fast as he can. Did they see that robotics facility? No, he did not. He did not see the robotic facility right here, so he does not know what tech path Protoss has decided to go down. Meanwhile, both Protoss and Terran gearing up for expansion, keeping their army together very nicely, moving it over to this ramp at the bottom. While purple Protoss for Towson now keeping his army near this ramp, while the green Zerg keeping his roaches, taking his roaches over here to start attacking these rocks so he can expand to this corner expansion down here. It's a very nice expansion once you can defend this entire middle area. It's very nice, nice and easy to access, especially on the side with this little ledge, because one can simply run Zerglings all the way back here and defend it quickly. Terran and Protoss for UMD, though, getting a lot of units really fast. They're trying to keep a very steady defense. If both of their expansions are down, while the purple Protoss has not yet expanded. He's the last one to expand. Robotics Bay now going down for Protoss to get those juicy Colossi. They're very good, especially in large numbers in 2v2. Multiple barracks going down so Terran can get that Bile Ball, but also getting siege tanks out at the same time. No siege mode being researched yet, but you can see there are a lot of Marines coming out. Reactors now coming down for the barracks, and a drop coming in for the Yellow Terran, deciding to take, but went right by this watchtower and is now trying to take it out. Gets one Marine out to take out that Zergling, and is now going around the back. They know it's coming. Protoss now not sure where to defend, going to march up to this backside to try and defend it. He has his robo down, but no robotic support bay quite yet. Meanwhile, green Zerg is getting an infestation pit and a macro hatch down. These will be very good, getting a nice roach infestor mix. Very good against both Terran and Protoss. They can do a lot of damage, especially with the neural parasite still being able to take control of those Colossi and those siege tanks. They can do a lot of good damage to their own units. Terran and Protoss, on the other hand, are doing a very nice little concave, very spread out units, making sure to keep their units very far apart in case of any quick rush up their ramp. Drop now landing with all of these Marines. So many probes going down. Oh my goodness, I can't believe how many probes just went down, and so quickly. A bunch of stalkers now coming in. These Marines have no chance to escape. Those medevacs going to try and fly away as fast as they can. One medevac is saved, but all of these Marines go down. But man, did that drop get a whole bunch of probes. That was incredible. Zerg now trying to take that expansion on the far side, even after that drop, while Protoss and Terran sticking on 2 bases each, getting another factory, 4 siege tanks. Colossus Thermal Lance almost done. Forge is going down for upgrades. Terran and Protoss just look like, and they're in great shape. If we go to the army tabs, Protoss and for UMD and the green Zerg are about even, but the purple Protoss for Towson is very far behind, sticking around 62 food, and after that heavy harassment, it's going to be hard to come back. No gas being mined for purple Toss, and also no Nexus yet built at the natural for purple yet. He's going to be a little bit behind when it comes down to econ, but he's also very high in the army tab. He has a nice big army down here. Oh, but it just got scanned. All the infestor has now been spotted by Terran and Protoss. They know exactly what they want to do. They need to get some sort of way to nullify the effect of these infestors down. And if we go into the production tab, we have an engineering bay going down for turrets, just in case the burrowed infestors come through, as well as upgrades coming down for Protoss, and a second forge for more upgrades, and then many more barracks to get more Marines out. We see a little bit of movement from the Zerg player trying to tag this tower and maybe even go for this gold base on the side. Protoss now, purple Protoss, finally being able to expand in the bottom of, at his natural, but it seems like too little too late. It seems like Protoss is now getting up his base back here. Got a nice little wall off here, but his Zealot just died. A lot of damage coming in. These rocks still not gone yet, so he has no quick way to defend. He's going to send over his army with a little bit of Terran units, as well as a Terran drop force coming in. Colossus now being able to focus down these infestors. That's a huge kill for Protoss, getting both of those infestors out in the open. But he may have to lose this base in order to capture. But he will trap all of these units here, and there's no way they can escape. All of them going down to this Colossus Stalker force. Some great force fields being placed. Those Rouges won't be able to fire. Just incredible micro from this orange Protoss in light of this attack. But another huge push from the purple Protoss coming forward to try and deal damage to this base again. There aren't many Terran forces here. Most of them are here in this bunker or in these tanks. This huge purple force is just going to do a lot of damage, and more infestors coming in to help out. They're going to be able to force their way up this ramp, but these Colossi are very powerful, and we have 13 Roaches on the way for the green Zerg, as well as one more Colossus on the way for the orange Terran. For the orange Protoss, we have a bunch of tanks coming out, as well as an armory and upgrades for Terran. Terran getting a huge lead, and here are the medevacs. Their drop just being cleaned up after doing a lot of damage to those drones. No more drones left at that base. Roach is now moving forward, as well as Protoss staying out here. This is a bit out of position, but it does force the Terran, the yellow Terran, and the orange Protoss to keep units here in order to defend themselves. These infestors also caught out of position, not really sure they can do much damage from over there. This observer now finally starting to move around, find out what is going on in this base. A lot of tanks now. These tanks and these Colossi can do so much damage to these basic units. He sees these Roaches running by. These tanks have a nice long range to cut off some of this travel area. Now moving forward to try and get rid of this creep. This creep has been doing wonders. Wonderful creep spread. It's getting all the way forward, giving tons of vision for the green Zerg here, and the purple toss for Towson. Meanwhile, back at this third base, we have Protoss now trying to resaturate. Terran getting this base into an orbital command. More infestors coming out for Zerg, as well as Templar archives on the way for the orange Protoss. Gonna get some high Templar and also a dark shrine. He's getting both Templar buildings in order to get more diverse unit composition, with more Colossi coming out, as well as I believe Protoss, yeah, weapons level 2 on the way. Here comes a big engagement. We have the yellow Terran moving forward, possibly going to siege up below this cliff, try and do tons of damage, but the infestors come out and land a great fungal blow on these Marines. Tons of Marines going down. These infestors definitely paid for themselves, taking out all of those Marines. All the Terran has left are these tanks. Huge force fields going down by both players. But more tanks coming in, tons of Stalkers to face these Stalkers here, but the Colossi can make a huge difference, as well as these tanks in the back. That one Marine, all that's left for that Marine force. These Roaches coming forward, going to try and isolate this Protoss force. But now these Protoss units coming forward to take out these tanks. There's some great micro from Green Zerg, and yet purple Protoss taking great measures to avoid too much fire on all of their units, separating the splash fire units and not taking too much damage. The yellow and orange still trying to force their way up this ramp that can do so much damage. The Guardian Shields about to go out. More tanks down on this low ground, not doing much damage. We have a command center landing at the gold for yellow, as well as more units just streaming in, tons of Marines. And with no more infestors to speak of, these could do a lot of damage. Orange just forcing his way forward. This infestor here, not sure what to do. These Marines could get fungal, but the infestor goes down, gets a nice fungal growth on these Stalkers, but there's just too many Colossus in this army. GG, says Reptile, the green Zerg, he leaves the game, and GG, says Porky, the purple Protoss, and that'll be a victory for the University of Maryland, 3-0ing Towson in this best of 5.